Welcome to an episode of First Shoes, and in today's video I'm going to go through the clash between Geelong and the Western Bulldogs in their round 11 down in Geelong. And even though the Western Bulldogs weren't able to get the 4 points, what a cracking game it was. I'm going to show you the difference between their first half and their second half, and it relates to their forward hand pass. So in the first half, you would have noticed in between the arcs there was a lot of turnovers, and there was a lot of turnovers scored by Geelong. In the second half, the Bulldogs turned that right around. And I'm going to show you how they did it in these clips throughout this video. So let's get into it now. So what I mean by the arcs is between the 50-metre arcs. And throughout the first half, there was so many turnovers. The commentators are talking about how much scores from turnovers that Geelong was able to get. And it was because of this forward hand pass. So the Bulldogs obviously went in with a ploy. Geelong's, it's quite a narrow ground. So there's not a lot of width. And Geelong know that. They've played it for so long, and they understand that when clubs come down, they want to try and play the corridor, but they will suffocate you in the corridor. This forward hand pass, this one here, so that hand pass to there, they sweat on that. They love that Geelong, because that means they can get all their numbers back, be able to crowd the back line, get the numbers in that area. The other thing it brings into play is their half forwards. Geelong love the half forwards, so Manor, Close, Myers, they all come up. So in between the arcs, so both 50-metre arcs, is where they generate a lot of their turnovers, then slingshot footy. And that's why sometimes when you see Cameron out the back, you go, how do you get so free? It's because they get all their half-forwards up, they cause chaos. And so in the first half, Bulldogs played into Geelong's hands. So the forward hand pass goes to ground. The other thing with this too, when they were doing the forward hand pass, Geelong were really good at checking the player who hand pass. So there was no 1-2s. So there's no hand pass, dart, get the second possession, then clear the line. What happened was, when that player hand passed, they were checked by a Geelong player. So it really shut down. I'll show you some other clips on what happens. So there's a hand pass, no support, he's run away, close, great tackle, and then ability to go. And this is why they became so free. And there's Stengel out there. So they really closed down the gap in that first half against the Bulldogs. So the Bonk gets on the half back line. So once again in between the arcs. So looks to play on. Really good. So this is where you have the numbers for Bulldogs, right? So this is where you can link up. So they're all running in this direction, obviously, towards their goals. But what happens in this situation, when you do the forward hand pass, you actually then invite these other players to come in, because it's a hand pass you're playing on. It's not a kick. So you can go back off the mark, have a look around and have time. So great play here by Humphreys, because he realises that once there's a forward hand pass, it's play on. Okay, now I'm going to suffocate the gap and take up this grass. So I'm going to leave my man here, and once he gets it, it sort of bubbles around. But if he was able to pick it up, then there is a connection. But because it's a bad hand pass, it's a forward hand pass on the ground, he then looks up. But because he sees the pressure coming, he fumbles. And then great tackle, turnover. So really well played by Geelong in the first half. So the Bulldogs switch it, and then you've got this run here. This is Baker. Now, yeah, he's good on both sides, but that forward hand pass, that they just didn't want it. And there's Close. There's the half forward pushing up. And this is what the Bulldogs rectified at half time. So then he's going towards boundary on his non-preferred and kicking to a sea of players. And this is what Geelong love. They love the high ball. They can come off uncontested, intercept mark. So it's a really weak line from Baker, but it's that forward hand pass. Now this is the perfect summary. So this is still in the second quarter. This is the perfect highlight for that forward hand pass, and you'll see what I mean with what goes behind the goals. So Kennedy, good mark, forward hand pass. So then you're inviting the half forward to come and put pressure on because you're playing on. So then Humphreys comes off. Once again, hand pass, you're playing on. So you're rushing. Bulldogs are rushing. So yes, they're trying to get it on quick, but there's no, because the ground's so skinny on the wings, you have limited space to go out, and Geelong know this. Geelong know how to squash you, so they just push you towards the boundary line, and that's exactly what they did. But it played into their hands a bit because Bulldogs, and look, once he gives the hand pass, instead of running to give support, he's actually just heading this way. So there's no support at all, and then you feel like you got support here, but this guy's coming off as well. So it was a constant press, but it was because of the forward hand pass and because they were trying to play on. And then Humphreys gets him, turnover, and great tackle. So that was the first half, right? So that now I'll show you clips of the second half of how they're able to rectify it. So this is the first contest of the third quarter. So ball's in dispute, little dinky hand pass, but instead of giving that forward hand pass, Bont kicks it. So by him kicking it in this situation, now he's eliminating all these players, the Geelong players. It's going forward, obviously towards Western Bulldogs going right of screen, but you've got a lot of one-on-ones. So going forward, you've got a lot of one-on-ones. So it gives the Western Bulldogs forwards an opportunity to set up their structure and not have anyone zoning off because it's a quick entry. So they bring the ball to ground. Really good he was really good in the second half, Karmas. And then go away. Instead of this forward hand pass, they decided, hey, we've got to give the hand pass away. We've got to give the hand pass to our player facing our goals instead of hand passing it forward and putting our teammate under pressure. Great work from Bont come through, and that results in a goal. So you can see already the mindset. At halftime, they're saying, hey, well, I'm obviously just guessing, but I could see a total different shift in the second half compared to the first half. And one of the things they also adjusted in between the arcs was their work rate. And I just want to put this in. This is awesome stuff from Bont. So the ball goes in. Looks like he's out positioned, but he stays involved. Right, so the ball goes up. Myers wins it, turns around, great smother. And then chases it down, hand pass behind, not forward. And then he could have, he's under pump. And in the second half, they were trying to come back and use, but he just kicks it. Just kicks it down there, over the back. And then Karmas gets a free kick, shot on goal. So they got away. They got over that area of where most of the Geelong players were set and coming up. So really good place. They use their legs, they break the lines, and they were kicking. No forward hand passes. So the ball's in the half-back line there for the Bulldogs. It's just heaps of numbers, but they just get on their boot. Instead of just hand passing in the corridor, in tight and close, they just got the ball moving. And by doing that, just staying on their feet, keeping involved, and now another kick. Now this kick all of a sudden eliminates all these Geelong players. So in the first half, they were the forward hand pass, too many hand passes, over hand passing, squash, Geelong gets a turnover, and Geelong's not getting the ball back in deep inside their back 50, they're getting it in between the arcs. And now look, when it goes forward, how free. And now you've got these players, like that was in the first half, running towards their goals, but the ability to be then used because of this structure. And you've got one-on-one and one-on-one and one-on-one. So then, great mark from Karmas. Gets backed off the mark. Really important. Not looking this way. He's getting back off the mark, looking at his goals. Really important because the numbers from behind. Now look, 1, 2, 3. And Kennedy ends up kicking the goal. So really good play. So the ability just to kick, get it through the arcs. Instead of trying to do all this handballing like they were in the first half, let's get it going. So as a centre bounce, bubbles around a little bit, bit of a quick kick, picks up the ball. Now in the first half they'll give that hand pass, but not in the second half. Just grab the ball, make a decision, break the lines. So break the lines means 2 players here. Use your foot skills, get through it, break through, kick it inside forward 50. So then all of a sudden you're removing all these players, and then you're going into an open forward line. So this is right on nearly 3/4 time, and once again it's the players off the line. So off the line for the Western Bulldogs, going right of screen, but not to hand pass. So the ball bubbles around a little bit there, and now the hand pass with a bit of width, and then kick. Once again, you're eliminating all these players, going inside to a forward line of structure. There we go. We've got one-on-ones. The ball goes in over the back, and then Vandermeer kicks that soccer goal. Comes off, and soccer. So it was a massive difference compared to the first half to the second half for the Western Bulldogs. That's why they allowed themselves to get back in the game. Okay, so this is the last clip. So great tackle here from Rory Lobb, and just the ability to get it quick. So get the ball quick. Yes, there's a little forward hand pass, but it's a kick, not another forward hand pass or another forward hand pass or another forward hand pass. And the instructions were to use their feet, so quick kicks. So in the first half, there was a lot of players running on these 45s, encouraging the hand pass, the forward hand pass. In the second half, there was hardly any. So they get the ball and they kick it long. Ray Lewis comes off here, over the back. But with that one kick, look at how many players are eliminated from the potential contest. So long, off the line. It's not down the line. Look at Stewart's probably and De Koning. Oh, there's Stewart there. That's probably De Koning there. They're in really good positions if the ball goes down the boundary line or through the corridor. But because it's off the line, it gives the Bulldogs an opportunity over the back. Turns, kicks, instead of a forward hand pass. Norton. Free, runs in an open goal. So that was a huge difference in the second half for the Western Bulldogs. So they eliminated that forward hand pass. The forward hand pass just encouraged the half forwards of Geelong to come up, press up, and because it's a forward hand pass, you're turning blind. So then as soon as you get the ball, you're under pressure straight away. Feel like you have to rush it, but you're playing on. So complete change in their game style in the second half for the Bulldogs, and that's why they're able to get back in the game. So let's get to the whiteboard and show you how you can eliminate that forward hand pass through handball games. So in the clips I just showed you there, the Bulldogs, what they did is they'll have the ball here, and then they would have a runner going to 45, right? And either way. And that was a forward hand pass. So with that forward hand pass and the player running this way, one, they've got to turn their head back this way away from the goals to receive the ball. Then once they get the ball, they have pressure. So they're almost like they get the ball, they're sort of turning on an angle, then they look, and then they're in a state of shock because they've got the pressure coming at them. So a really good defensive structure from Geelong. But this is what you can get into trouble because all of a sudden the guy or girl who passes has got the ball, feels like they're free, feels like they can play on, then is stuck with making a decision on the defender instead of actually trying to kick it and get long. So it's really a risky hand pass, and sometimes, as I call it, it's a bit of a hospital pass. And what I mean by that is that you hand pass to your teammate, and then you've got someone coming off, and essentially code is put you in hospital. But the way to eliminate that is to actually have your player come this way. So if you want to invite the forward hand pass, don't invite the hand pass on an angle from behind. So if you got the ball here, unless you look up, it's important that you as the kicker or the person who's got the ball needs to have a look. So if there's a mark there and someone's going and you think they can play on and they've got space, yes, that's when you create the forward hand pass. But not when you've got traffic like it was last night. So you're putting your teammate into a little bit of danger and to making a quick decision. So with handball games, so if you set up a handball game like this is one way you can train. So this is your handball game structure. So you can do 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however you want to do it. But don't, if there's run from behind, so you've got the ball here, encourage run from behind. But this guy is facing towards his goals. He's not coming on an angle. The beauty about this, when they come from behind, is that they're actually still facing their goals. When you go into 45, hear me out. When you go into 45 here, your head's facing this way. Then once you get the ball, then you're facing towards your goals. But sometimes that's too late because the pressure from behind, the blind side that you don't know, comes at you. So once you get the ball, you're under pump. So what you need to do is if you want to encourage, and this is where you encourage the handball games, you have your player come at the receive. So come at. So whether it's on a 45, so generally on the 45, then this player can then be involved again. But then there's a handball back, and then you go. So essentially, the player with the ball here, hand passes to relieve because they're under the pump. Then they can shift laterally to then still be facing their goals. So the forward hand pass, like you saw in those clips, can create uncertainty for that player receiving the ball. Because one, they've got to turn their head to get the ball as received. Then they look up and then there's pressure. So they're basically putting chaos. So that's what the Bulldogs eliminated. So when you're doing handball games, encourage the player to come this way. So then, as I showed you, and I've showed you in previous clips, to give the hand pass away to the player facing the goals. It's very important, because then they can look up, they can see what's happening in the activity and make a decision from there. Not on the 45. Sometimes that can create too much chaos for the player who actually receives the ball. So there you go. In today's video, it was all about just trying to eliminate that forward hand pass. So the person with the ball decides. If you see that someone's on the mark and there's space and the player's running on a 45, either kick it to give them opportunity to mark it so they've got some distance and they can go back off the mark. Or if you are going to give that hand pass, ensure that up the field is very clear. In the footies last night with the Bulldogs, it was too close. There was pressure coming, and then that play was put under the pump. So the way they eliminated that was to actually use their legs, get through the lines, and kick it, which eliminated all those half forwards. So it was a great game. It was, but the purpose of this video was show you the difference between what they did in the first half and what they adjusted in the second half to get themselves back in the game. So well done to the Bulldogs. Unfortunately, couldn't get the win, but Geelong is a brilliant side. Both those sides played awesome.